guys, well, welcome to Diamond Delight Edibles. My name is Liz. If this is the first time you stopped by, and for the rest of you guys, welcome back. So glad you joined me. So today I am going to show you how to make some yummy, oh so ooey gooey canna butter cinnamon rolls. And wouldn't these be awesome Thanksgiving breakfast or Christmas morning, waking up to the smell of cinnamon rolls and that ooey gooiness? Oh, delightful. So anyway, I digress. So for this recipe, I am going to show you how to make it with canna butter. However, if you're not a canna butter fan, you can absolutely make these just plain. So anywhere where I say the canna butter, so for example, if it's 1/3 of butter and I split out a 1/4 cup of canna butter and 2 tablespoons of regular butter, you would just make that 1/3 cup of regular butter. So you can absolutely follow these recipes for regular. They are absolutely scrumptious. So we're going to jump right into those ingredients, what we need, and let's get these baked. All right, so for our ooey gooey sticky cinnamon buns, canna butter cinnamon buns, what we're going to need. So for our buns, we're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 cup of warm water. So you need this between 120 and 130 degrees Fahrenheit for activating your yeast. You're going to need 1 package of the quick Rise yeast. 1 package of the quick Rise yeast, sorry, blah. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to need a 1/2 cup of scalded milk. I had to look that up. So scalded milk is just bringing your milk just before a boil and then letting it cool down. We're going to need a 1/4 cup of sugar and 1 egg at room temperature. And we are going to need a 1/3 cup of melted butter. So what I've done here is I did a 1/4 cup of canna butter and 2 tablespoons of regular butter and melted those together. So again, however you want to divide that up is totally up to you, as long as you have a 1/3 cup of butter. You want to make this regular, just make it regular butter. And we're going to need a 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So for the filling, you're going to need a 1/4 cup of melted butter. So what I did was 2 tablespoons of canna butter and 2 tablespoons of regular butter that I melted together. You're going to need 1/3 cup of sugar. And if you have canna sugar, you're more than welcome to use that as well. You're going to want 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar. You can use light or dark. And we're going to use 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. And optionally, you can add walnuts or pecans or raisins if you'd like. I'm going to add in some walnuts for my filling. And we also are going to need 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. That kind of makes the cinnamon filling. So we're going to need 2 tablespoons of our cinnamon. Then for our for the icing or for the coating, we're going to need 2 to 3 cups of icing sugar, 3 tablespoons of butter, and 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. Kind of forgot what I've got here. So 3 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, and 3 to 4 tablespoons of hot water. That's what we're going to need for the icing. So those are all the ingredients. Let's get into the equipment and then let's make some cinnamon rolls. All right, so for the equipment, you're going to need a stand mixer, or you can do this by hand. I'm just lazy and much prefer my mixer. You're going to need a rolling pin. You're going to need either a round, or you can use the rectangle baking dishes for baking our rolls. Spray stuff, non-stick spray stuff, very helpful. Spatula, offset spatula, and thread. So we're going to use a thread for cutting our rolls. So you want to use a nylon thread or a very heavy thread. You can also use a fishing line or dental floss. So this will allow us to cut our rolls so they'll be nice and perfect without getting squished by cutting down. So thread, I know, strange, huh? So that's pretty much, oh, and you're going to need a second bowl. We're going to need another bowl for proofing our dough, and a linen or cotton towel, dampened warm dampened with warm water. And that's essentially the equipment that we're going to need. As always, I forget stuff, but that's the major of it. So let's jump right in and let's get these rolls made. All right. So the very first thing that we have to do is to activate our yeast. So you're going to heat up your water, as I said, between 120 and 130 degrees. You're going to take a little sprinkle of sugar and add that into your warm water. Then we are going to add in our sprinkle on our yeast. If I can get it open. So you just want to sprinkle it over the water. And then make sure, because the yeast likes to hide inside of there, because like it's live, so it's like, I don't want to come out. So just make sure to get all of it out. And we're going to stir that into the water, make sure it's all stirred in. And we're going to set this aside for about 10 minutes and let it activate. It'll get all foamy. If it does not foam up, then your yeast is dead and you will need to get new yeast. If it doesn't foam up, don't go any further. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for our yeast to activate, to our bowl we are going to add our melted butter. Going to add in our sugar, our egg, and our salt, and our teaspoon of vanilla. Yeah, I just wing it. And I'm going to actually add electricity to that so it'll work. And we're just going to mix these together. And we're going to add in our scalded milk. And we are going to add 2 cups of our flour. Mix that together. Once your dough there is combined, we're just going to get our yeast. And like I said, your yeast should be nice and foamy. So your yeast should be foamy like so. So if it doesn't foam up like that, it's dead. Do not go any further. Get yourself new yeast. So I've switched out my paddle for my dough hook. I'm going to add my yeast and water mix in. And we are going to add the remainder of our flour. And we're just going to combine. We're going to combine that till all the dough comes together into one nice ball. Now, if you're mixing by hand, if you're doing this by hand, you're going to want to knead it for about 8 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to let it go in the machine for about the same amount of time, for about 8 to 10 minutes. Let the machine do the work. And also, if you find that it's a little bit dry and it's not coming together, you can add a couple of drops, a couple of tablespoons of water at a time. Just 1 or 2 at a time, not much. So my dough's not fully coming together here, so I'm just going to add in a tablespoon of water at a time till it comes together. But be patient with this. Don't add too much. Like, don't go add 3 or 4 because it really doesn't take much water to pull your dough together. So now you can see how the doughs come together in a ball. That's what you want. The machine will now be able to start kneading it. Or at this point, I said you can take it out and start kneading it by hand if you like. So next I'm just going to get my bowl ready. So I'm just going to spray with some non-stick cooking spray, or you can use vegetable oil or oil, it doesn't matter. Give it a generous coating. Alrighty, so my dough's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on my surface here. And I'm just going to knead it out a little bit by hand. So I'm just working it until it's just a nice supple ball. And it's nice and elasticy. And it all comes together. And there's no Like right now, like see how it kind of pulls apart, it's kind of gappy. You don't want that, so we want to work it till it all stays together nice. Okay, so now my dough's all nice together in a ball. So we're gonna take our oiled bowl here and plop her in and cover it up with a warm, damp towel. So we want to make sure it's damp, not wet, just damp. So just cover up your dough here and set it off to a warm spot in your kitchen. Usually the top of your refrigerator is a good spot. And we're gonna let that rise probably about 45 minutes to an hour until it at least doubles in size. All right, so meanwhile, I'm going to get our filling ready. So I'm gonna combine our cornstarch in with our sugar. And what the cornstarch is going to do is it's gonna help us with our filling there. So the last time I made these, what happened was the butter, as it heats up, all gets absorbed into the cinnamon roll, and you're kind of all you're left with is just a bunch of cinnamon in the middle instead of having that ooey gooey niceness in that center. So combining the cornstarch is going to be able to keep that together and combine that, creating that ooey gooey versus where did everything go? So you want to make sure to whisk it well into the sugar. All right, so we're going to get our melted butter, drop her into the bowl. Just going to heat that up a little bit more so it's actually melted. All right, so I've got my melted butter. I'm going to add in our sugars and mix those together. And it's going to create a paste. Oh, sorry, and the most important thing, can't forget the actual cinnamon. Oops. And in goes our 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Now we'll get all that mixed together. So see, it's going to create this paste. Yum, yum. And we're just going to set that aside until we need it to fill up our rolls. All right, so my dough has more than doubled in size here. Look how lovely that is. So what you're going to do is just gently press down. This releases all our gases from it. Then we're going to lightly flour our surface here to roll it out. You just want a light flouring. Then we're going to turn our dough out onto our workstation, onto our area here. You see okay? Yep. Good. And we're going to roll this out to about 1/4 of an inch thick. And when you're rolling, it's always good to, you go from the center and push out. So go from your center and push out. The brakes on my table don't work, so it's like trying to hold on to it. Trying to make this rectangular-ish. That looks about good. I'm just going to get a knife here and just take off the end here. I just kind of said want to keep it a little on that rectangular-ish shape. I was kind of shaping it out here with my hands. All right, so now we get to the good stuff. Where's my offset? So you're going to take our butter and our sugar mixture that we did earlier, and we're going to smear that evenly all over our dough. We're going to take it right to the edges, end to end, edge to edge. And I said you want to just try and make sure you have a nice even spread all over. Look at that. Oh my God. The ooey gooiness, I can taste it now. And once you're all spread out, you're going to just take your edges here And we're gonna flip her up and tuck her in end to end here. You want to make sure that it's even. Then we're just gonna roll it. It's gonna be just like rolling a big fatty. You want to get that evenly rolled and keep it snug, like so. Look at that beauty. Looky. I get so excited with this stuff. Okay, now comes our thread. So you're going to grab some thread, get a good amount of it here. You want to be able to go under, around, and be able to cut. So the first thing I'm going to just do is going to take off the edge here, because it doesn't really, the ratted edge there, that doesn't really have much of your filling in that. So what you just do is you slip the thread underneath your dough, take it up like so, cross over, and then you just pull tight on itself to cut it. And then see, it makes a nice perfect cut. So I'm just going to discard that piece because see, it's got all that nothing in there, so I don't want that. Now I want to make each one of them about 1 inch. So these mats are great because they've got rulers on them. So I'm just going to line it up to here so I can see. And I'm going to get my pan. That would be helpful. So we're going to spray our pan with a generous spray. I don't have a lot of room here. Okay. I've got my thread, got my thingy-majigger, my evening up for 1 inch. So I just line that up, cross that over, pull, and I get a perfect 1 inch cut. So see how nice that does, and it doesn't squish them. If you do it with a knife, then they get squished. And you want to sit them close together. So I'm actually going to switch it over to a round pan. Didn't quite seem to make enough. So let's see, 1, 2. Didn't quite make enough for this type pan, so I'm going to put them in a round one instead. All right, so we've got them all tucked into our pan like so. So now we're going to cover them with the warm, damp towel for about 20 minutes till they proof and puff up again. And now at this point, then you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees so it's ready to go once these puffies are puffed. Oh, I forgot my walnuts. Damn. Wanted to add walnuts. Guess I could sprinkle them on top. Meant to put them inside, but I'll just sprinkle some on top. Cover that up and we'll be back to put these puppies in the oven. Okay, so our cinnamon rolls have now doubled in size there. See, oops, pecan in the sugar. So we're ready to pop these in the oven at 350. We're going to bake them for 25 to 30 minutes till they're really nice, till they're nice and golden brown all on top. And you always want to put it on the middle rack. And while that's baking, we're going to make up our icing for it. So I've melted our butter and our cream cheese here together, and I'm just going to dump that into the bowl. Spatulas work so much better. What do people do before spatulas? I guess they use their fingers a lot. So into the bowl that goes. I'm just going to whisk that together, make it nice and smooth. Okay, once you got all that nice and smooth, take your sugar, plop her all in. I'm just going to fold it gently at first so I don't go poof. And then we're going to add in some of our hot water. So I'm going to just add in a couple of tablespoons at first. Get my whisk. And whisk together. And you just want to whisk it till it's nice and smooth. And we'll set that aside until our rolls are ready to come out of the oven. All right, it's time for our cinnamon rolls to come out. Okay, so I had a little bit of an issue here with a couple of them, so I overstuffed the pan. So what I would say is to make sure is that you have a little bit of space in between and that you don't overstuff them like I just did, so you don't have these weird ass growths, but they're gonna taste awesome anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna place these here on a cooling rack, and we're going to get our icing glaze onto them. All right, so now we're gonna get ready to put on our icing glaze. Let's give her a quick little stir up here and get ready for the magic. Ooh. Oh, this is just too exciting. Oh. So you just want to try and get them all over. There we go. Check that out. Oh, ho, ho, ho. I cannot wait to try one of these. So you just want to let them cool down enough so that you can actually handle them. They're a little molten lava-ish right now. So let them cool down for about 15-20 minutes or so, and then dig in. Best way to enjoy them is warm. You can also, these freeze up really great, so if you want to have a couple, and then you can just freeze them up and pull one out at a time, let it defrost, and microwave it up for a couple of seconds. You're good to go. So that is my little demonstration for you on how to make canna butter cinnamon rolls. I hope you enjoyed that, and hope you enjoy these Christmas morning or Thanksgiving. They'll be awesome. So thanks again for watching. As always, any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to put them down. And I really do hope you subscribe if you're new to the channel. Lots and lots more recipes to come. All right, so take care, and I'll see you soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.